Hello, welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is The Schiller, and we're going to talk about some notable scams that have been happening that local news sources around the globe are highlighting, worth a look at, especially if you are Canadian, because it's happening at a rapid pace. I was in the car today, and it actually happened to somebody that I was with, and I've gotten a ton of text messages about it. A lot of these are complete frauds. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty details. We'll reflect a little bit on the gun sale that happened yesterday. And the thing that you already knew is that the internet is the future. Online, everything is going to be the case. Now, that's not to take away from things happening still in person, but I think we are in for a very interesting happening of what's going on. So yesterday we made a reference about Steam and how I had a friend that thought they had $10,000 worth of value on their Steam account, which Steam is an engine or site that you're able to build an account of saved games. So you could be playing a game or bought one years ago, and it's still accessible to re-download it through Steam on your computer as of today. So they've accrued a huge amount, and their account got banned, suspended, whatever, for something that they're not even sure about. Could have been a false flag, but they've lost that $10,000. And I think people are starting to clue into a couple things about like how expensive the digital landscape is, even though you don't actually own it. You're strictly renting until you actually own it. And that's what's going to change things. Now, another topic that I kind of realized or had a thought about was today at this car ride and then lunch, I was hanging out with some old friends, and one of them made a comment about how they wanted to do like adult sports more. But it was like $200 for 3 months of activities. There's no referee and there's no even person that's associated with the league that's putting it on. They just like help organize it. It's like, well, I mean, that's kind of cool, but we're paying for this at a field, at a time. These things are expensive. How much easier it is to just like stay at home? And that's not to discourage like physical activity or anything, but I mean, you go, you play hockey, hella expensive. Some of the other sports out there, but it doesn't just need like a net and a ball. Otherwise, you're having to pay for field time, and it's, I don't know. I think things are going to get easier and more accessible online. Okay, so smishing fraud. Cyber criminals are ramping up text-based scams to steal personal and banking information. This tactic, known as smishing, a combination of short message service and phishing text, basically, relies on deceptive text messages to trick recipients into clicking malicious links or calling fraudulent numbers. This is also why, if anything ever happens, you want to call on the number directly on the back of your card. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre received almost 9,500 reports of identity fraud and over 3,900 reports of personal information theft. So how to protect yourself? Do not click links or reply to messages or call numbers from unknown senders. Again, you've probably gotten a ton of text messages saying, oh, you're from this bank, it's this. And you'll realize it's fake when obviously it's not the bank you're with. But if there ever is one that is of your bank, you kind of second guess it. But know that probably 10 times out of 10, it's illegitimate. Report suspicious text by forwarding them to 7726 or spam. I didn't know you could do that. Delete all suspicious messages immediately. Keep your smartphone secure by updating your operating system and security software. Use multi-factor authentication for banking, social media. I mean, a lot of the stuff is just like obvious to an extent. But just being aware of what's happening is all you really need. So smishing, that's what it was called, right? Careful of it. Okay, so basically in a blink of an eye, as soon as ChatGPT came out with their image generator, the entire timeline is now AI images. And it's causing an uproar of certain points, and this one's clearly not ChatGPT, it's Grok from X, animating the Saquon Barkley backwards huddle. People saying, oh, it looks like crap. And all right, fair enough. You look at it, I mean, some of the bodies here, like we're in like an awkward upward stand. It's, it's not super clear. The logo is not that great. We have hands doing whatever this is. Not great. Not great. But you're basically at a point where you can't tell what was like human made versus just text prompts. And it basically happened overnight. And we can argue, all right, maybe that happened before, but it feels like my entire timeline, advertising across the board, from Call of Duty League to general sports, everybody was doing the Ghibli trend before. And it's happened in a blink of an eye. where it's just completely taken over. So curious what the ramifications of that are going to be. All right, so Taproot Wizards gets cooked like every single day for whatever reason. It's interesting, but they had a public auction before. I think it went upwards of like 0.2 BTC or even higher. But people are already pointing out the fact that it is way down. And I think when you have the perspective, as Adam Smoot here said, that the mint was actually 9 ETH. Like, it was in Bitcoin, right? But like, for you, you're probably more familiar with like the ETH terminology. People paid 9 ETH to mint this NFT collection. And I'm just like, wow, we're in this kind of market, seeing the things that we do when people are out there really want to gamble on the rares. Is that what it is? And the gun token coming out at 69 million. Initially, that's down like 50% in a day as well, which is kind of nuts, to be honest with you. So the story comes out a day later, down like 50 to 75%. It's down another 15% today. It's like, wow, man, things are not whole. And this was on top of guns, making it so their early investors couldn't get a share. So they pissed off everybody there. They're having a lower float, so it looks better on the exchanges. But now we have just kind of a horrible PR storm. And it's got this trickle-down effect, I think, where we'll get into some of the interesting takes from various notable individuals. But another headline, former Blade of God ex-exec claims game abandoned Web3. A former executive accused Blade of God's Web2 team of claiming cash prizes supposedly allocated to players. There's always something fishy going on. But these brands want to work with the people that get attention. Do you know who the Rizzler is? So this is like a child star sort of deal with the people that do the 5 big boom, boom, boom. It's really kind of fallen off. I still think like it's sort of funny, but this is just what I'm talking about. We have brands that want to sell product. We have people that will be able to get their eyes, their audience's eyes on these various products. And I think we're just going to see an absolute wave like no other with some of the opportunities that Web3 offers, from ease of access to removing the middlemen to having instant payouts. It'll be something that we watch. Yo, Narmac, what's going on? Brumalauchi. So Bill Noble, absolutely love him. Does a daily stream talking about crypto markets. If you find this show interesting, I think you'd find Bill Noble interesting. But I brought him up on various times because he has been all in on this John McAfee, yes, like the antivirus creator, AI coin, AI agent. They're doing like phone bills and stuff similar to what was happening with, what the hell was Iggy Azalea? With like the mother token. They came out and they were like, we're going to do like mobile phones where you can purchase plans with crypto and all that other stuff. And he's saying, prediction, this account has 10,000 followers in one day. What are we at now? We're at 229. Okay, cool. He's basically saying at one point this is going to have a lot. Now, the first account was banned. So my theory about, well, there's a problem when we have the notions of the value around a lot of these coins being some AI agent on X, where they're very plausibly to be banned at some point in the future, whether from mass reporting, some kind of terms of service guidelines, we don't really know. Maybe X changes this whole thing on like AI agents, but there's a risk with it. But anyway, this is still being highlighted, and one of the things where it's like, it's not my close friend group, it's something that I find interesting and I genuinely value their opinion, going all in on like this AI agent of John McAfee. Thought it was kind of interesting. All right, listen to the clip. Here we go.
The Biden administration just hammered the American people with regulations. And tomorrow I'm dropping a bill called the Financial Freedoms Act. And it allows families and individuals to invest their retirement funds into crypto. Now, President Trump has become the crypto president. And we want to help him with this. This will be something good for everybody. Diversify. This is a free country. Do what you want with your money. But the Biden administration, they didn't want anything to do with crypto.
True, they definitely didn't want to do anything with crypto, but also I don't really know how it works with like the retirement fund. So is that just saying there's literally no options right now for crypto, and so the bill is to push an option forward? Is that based off of like the states where that was blocked before, and Biden said no, you're not allowed to allocate your money to that? Which I think goes back to the, okay, maybe that's a little bit centralized, if you will. Interesting. Okay, you remember Dog Whiff Hat? Remember, it's not with, it's Whiff Hat. Whiff X the Vegas Sphere, which was one of the big news stories that was supposed to happen before, where they had like the dog, the logo, something, whatever on it. They were supposed to work with a partner to have it on. The person that took all the funds initially was accused of stealing the funds. And then they had to make a statement saying, well, that's not the case. We're still working for it. It's just taking longer. But the bad PR from the accusations of them stealing the funds has caused some issues. So with ex-Vegasphere contributions to be refunded, in quotes, everything was set to put the hat on the sphere in Q1 with our classic guerrilla marketing style. But announcing it had unintended consequences, and the Decrypt Media article spooked our partner. So then they're backing out of it of whoever the partner was. That's tough. Another blow to crypto. Positive news day, eh? So surreal. Crypto isn't about predicting the future. It's about betting on inevitable change before the crowd catches up. And I think as we've looked at the AI trends, you have a lot of people that scream, this is awful. Well, a lot of us are like, this is kind of something we like can't really stop. So we have to embrace it and adapt to it. We just have to, or it's not going to work. So with that said, we have the Think team that's got their upcoming agent mint, as well as token generation event. There's a lot of things happening around there. There's not a lot of people talking about it. So this is sort of a lengthy clip about what's to come, but I think it's probably worth your time just to hear about it before it happens, so at least you're aware.
Talk about kind of what our roadmap looks like and what's next for us.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of milestones. So let's just start with the first three. First three is going to be, we announced the date today, which we're targeting. There's a lot of partners and people involved, so hold us to it. But that's the goal. 4/22, 3.5 weeks roughly, will be your first chance to purchase an agent. Now it's not just going to be just an agent. You're also going to get some tokens because you need an agent. The token is the
account.
Well, the actual, I'm talking about like the Think token as well. Yeah. That's going to be the ecosystem currency, right? So
I just noticed, and maybe you don't, and this will ruin it for you, but like somebody's playing with paper or something right next to their microphone. I don't know who it is, if they're playing with something in their pocket, but you can vividly hear it.
Those in the Web3 space may consider this like a pre-sale for a token, as well as getting the actual agent as well. So it's a bit of a double, maybe even a triple dip as we start to release more information, but that's just coming around the corner. And then shortly after that would be a TGE. Mm-hmm. Token goes live.
So it's like you can get your agent and the tokens you need to run the agent.
Well, yeah, you'll get your agent. You'll get an asset that will become your agent. When TGE comes, you'll be able to claim tokens by holding that agent.
Which you're going to need those tokens to run the agent.
Yep. And there'll be some really interesting staking protocols and things we've got going, which we'll release in due course in advance of that date. And then following that, we have the first platform, Souls, which is where you'll use your agent. And the idea is to kind of roll with the momentum and have pretty short windows between each of those three milestones, so that we are not only catching this wave that's happening right now, but we can bring the community along without losing interest. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's about scaling and constantly improving and some really other cool features. And then the Independent AI Institute, which is close to 70 companies now.
I think we signed our...
So this is the big question with this AI Institute that I keep bringing up, because it's the Think standard. This is something that a whole bunch of companies are agreeing is the standard, and I think that's one of the biggest components of it.
70th today. I think.
Let's go, dude. Nice job.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's to put that into context, permissionless in Salt Lake City in October, we had 20.
Yeah, that's right.
ETH Denver, a month ago, we had 50.
Yep.
3 weeks ago, whatever that was. Now we're at 70. Like, talk about exponential growth curve. Like, we're on that curve.
And also just amazing companies. Like what Stone is doing at Mira and stuff. Like, it's like we just keep getting really high quality companies that have the same vision.
Yeah. I was really resounding yesterday to talk to a major player in the space that works with Circle, Robinhood, OpenSea, big names in Web 2 and Web 3. And the comment I got was, this is probably the top 5, this is probably one of the top 5 most exciting projects that's come across our desk. And then they were like, "Can we get?"
We got a top five. We got a top five. We got a top five. I don't know where the hell the wrestling came from, but we gotta give a red card on that one because what the hell is going on? But there you go. There's a little bit of an update regarding what's happening there. But why are we highlighting Think? Well, because the AI agent Storm is literally, as we mentioned before, happening all over the timeline, taking over everything. So in $400 of AI subscriptions, this ad was made entirely by AI.
Smoking hot, straight out the pack. First bite magic, no turning back. That crunch hit hard like a baseline smack. Savory bliss, got me lost in the track. Stack up the wings, pile 'em up real high. Take another dip, let the flavors collide. That crispy sensation you just can't deny. One more round, man, I'm ready to ride. It's finger licking good.
So you get the idea on there, and for $400, like, okay, we say that's kind of expensive, but I mean, think of how much that commercial would have cost to shoot in person with various people, the graphics artists, the actors, whatever ingredients you need to make things happen. I mean, they're saying that originally it would cost $400,000 plus, which, oh my God, holy smokes. But what if it doesn't cost $400 and it's way lesser and the prompts are easier to understand? As we see, AI getting better and better, should be interesting. And then just relating back to the video game component, this is, I don't think this is like a real clip. Like they put like a clickbait title. I think the clip itself is real, and it's somebody smashing their PS4 because their significant other deleted their NBA 2K account, which for a lot of these games, right, you pay X amount, and I don't think anywhere close to 400,000 because you get a new game every single year within the sports world. And so let's say at most they spent $20,000, which is still like a lot, right? And they're freaking out over that because it got deleted. Well, it doesn't matter. It gets deleted every single year anyway because they make a new game and you have to redo all of that process. So when gamers react to some of the happenings and want change, I think it'll happen. Xcopy, famous artist within Web3 and beyond. CCO, basically saying, yeah, anybody can make anything with this, was a huge mistake. I didn't expect so many copy mints and blatant scams and bringing everything back under copyright. Now, this is the same thing that happened with Moonbirds. I don't know why the CCO thing was like trendy at a time, but it was. Absolutely love people that are in professional sports. Make and do what they can. Look at this Chicago White Sox tarp job. Unbelievable. Rain delay. They have like a quarter of the field covered with one and then just makeshift everything else. Just phenomenal. So we got different takes on the timeline regarding the whole guns drop of the token for off the grid. Loopify is saying, I'm probably zeroing all my gaming token investments. Was fun while it lasted. Now, what's funny about this, and like with kind of like the bearishness, and again, let's just assume they actually mean that, is the comments then Latham saying, well, you extracted 8 figures through your gaming project, but you're also saying you're zeroing all gaming investments, basically saying, well, okay, so if all gaming's failing, that's what you did. You're just kind of trashing the industry, which I think as a founder, it's kind of hard to say, but Lubify is saying I didn't make 8 fibs. I haven't even made 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Like it's all semantics in that part, and people are trying to paint things in like a certain light, but I feel like generally it's just like a bad look. If you're into something saying, yeah, this is horrible. I'm writing it all to 0. Well, brother, You were the thing. You were writing to 0. That is not what we want. Don't make fun of my White Sox. Haven't the White Sox been like actually pretty good this year? I've been watching a fair amount of games, to be honest. Dodgers are cranking out a lot. There was a crazy game last night. Yankees, the 3 home runs back to back to back, the missed batter, and then the 4th home run. That was like the craziest inning I've ever watched. That was unreal. But the games are fun. The stories are fun. And the fact that MLB doesn't have ridiculous blackouts like a lot of the other sports league, I am enjoying it. I did get the league pass for this year. So if you ever want to talk baseball, let me know, Nabby. Justin, Roblox is offering in-game advertising with Google. Oh, so gaming is now going to force different advertisements because they know they have an audience. They know people will pay an arm and a leg. Well, gamers, maybe they want a piece of that of some sort. And how is that going to be possible? But we're seeing a lot of change happening very, very quickly. So This is kind of a crazy take. I don't even know if we call it a take because this is, I mean, these are all screenshots. We're going to take it at face value. But so let me get this straight. Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, and Tether, the stablecoin, bought a combined $10 billion of Bitcoin, and the price went down? No, just no. I'm calling paper Bitcoin. Show me the addresses. Prove it. M Block responded saying, I went to a meetup over the weekend and all but 2 people said they left their stashes on exchanges. Not your keys, not your crypto, apparently, except for everybody at this event, including the organizer. This blows my mind. If there's ever a run on these exchanges, you ain't getting out, in my honest opinion. So this is kind of fancy because you also don't really know the transparency. And so we've talked a little bit about auto blockchain before, where you could have gotten in not too long ago, made an account, gotten a free airdrop, could be worth thousands. Who knows? But did you do it? Nope, you lazy bastard. That's okay. Next time we're going to do it. True. The point being is that it's a chain that is supposed to help allow to see that full transparency of what's actually on the chain and who's holding what, and have transparent visibility, because this is actually a crazy thought, right? So imagine, right, you talk to anybody right now, and most people are completely wrecked unless they bought in Bitcoin and they've just held that for months and bought in it like a while ago before it went up, right? That's fair. We're all in the same boat. Phenomenal. We're friends. True. But what's going on with these exchanges? Are the exchanges also potentially in a horrible spot, or are they completely fine because nobody's actually withdrawing their Bitcoin, so they can just say, you know what? Yep, sure. We're going to take that money in. We're going to do this, move it all around. You're not going to pull out anyway. That's a crazy thought to think about on these exchanges. Where is the transparency on that front? Does it matter? Matters if people move for it. All right. So Call of Duty, Verdansk. We highlighted it when they dropped the trailer the other day, and this was a game that I played religiously when it first came out, and Warzone still exists. POW is the new POW is the new Bitcoin. Yo, hell yeah, brother. True. JR, good to see you. I'm assuming you played Warzone, right, JR? True. So Adio saying, just remember, Call of Duty is taking you back to Verdansk, but they are not giving you back all the skins you bought during Verdansk. And there was a bunch of different promos. There was celebrity skins, everything. And it's just gone. You can't do anything with it. You rented it for a moment in time. So my comment to this was, wonder if there was a way to solve for this. Blockchain. But BSB, Mr. Big Sexy Bartolo, does have a great point here. He says, NFTs will never, ever solve stuff like this. Greed isn't going to magically go away anytime soon or ever. And this is in reference, I believe, to the fact that these studios, they know, hey, listen, if we can drop a new game, if we can give them new skins, these people, they're addicted. They're going to play that. They're going to want to buy this anyway. And that's going to hit our bottom. That's the bottom line. Stone Cold Steve Austin meme reference, anybody? Okay. So my response to him was, you're right that greed likely won't go away. I bought one of the Dallas Empire Call of Duty League skins back then, and Dallas Empire isn't in the league anymore. I think they have rebranded, joined up with somebody else, but technically that's actually like a really cool vintage collectible, even if it's digital. So it would be cool if I could use that in any experience right now. I don't care if it's Call of Duty, right? But if there's other games that allow me to use that skin that has the IP rights that shows off that I'm a fan of Call of Duty all the way back when, that has some sort of value, doesn't it? Or at least if I perceive it as value, you might think, that's stupid, but it only matters what that individual thinks that owns that asset. So I learned that I merely rented it for a short period. I can't even show off the digital collectible now. Would be nice to see some changes with how things work. And how does that happen? Well, gamers saying so. And here's XQC pulling some random Counter-Strike knife that is worth like $1,000. Crap. Chat's going nuts. These guys are going nuts. People say NFTs are bad, but then they'll look at something that's literally an NFT and then say, that's phenomenal. We love it. A super viral clip. And people are just losing their mind. See, it's all about perspective. Once we get the perspectives down, the thought, the enjoyment, the things that you can get. Holy shit, somebody just swept 6 fluffs. Nice. All right, that's it for this edition of XFeed. That's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. As per usual, of course, we got a new episode out for the RWA segments today. Talked with Christian. It was much more of a philosophical episode, if you will. We talk about changes for all of this kind of jazz. So if you're wanting a little bit more meaningful of a conversation for somebody that's building out an entire blockchain that is basically only for real world assets, the collectibles, the tokenization of everything for the Plume Network. It was a phenomenal conversation. It's like 20 minutes long. I think you'd enjoy it. Again, check down the link in the description below. If you're on YouTube or if you're on X, if you check out my bio, the link is in there as well. I appreciate you coming through. Mr. Narmak, Navi, JRR. The summer of JPEG is upon us. True. Enjoy your night. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.